Welcome back. It is the penultimate phase of the Lok Sabha elections which are underway. Let's talk about the individual states and what to expect. We have Vinay Tewari, consulting editor of the Times Network, now joining in. Thank you so much for taking time out and being with us. BJP now has won 35 states out of 40 in East UP, and the traditional bastion of Yogi Adityanath, and sends Narendra Modi to Parliament. Do you think that the BJP can sweep East UP again, riding on that upper caste and the OBC votes?
Very difficult to see that, and honestly speaking, simple logic is the arithmetic that the BSP and the SP bring together on the table. Remember, the Mahagathbandhan experiment actually started from this part. Phulpur, as a constituency where there was a by-election a year and a half ago, is where the alliance first happened between SP and BSP, and they actually defeated the BJP. Then they repeated that in Gorakhpur and realized that if they come together, arithmetically, BJP will find it difficult to match up. So, which is much the same this time as well. I don't see the BJP retaining the kind of sweep that they had last time at all, because there are just so many seats in this part where the arithmetic is way superior if you just add the BSP and SP vote. That's one. The other reason which I wanted to add was, initially when the alliance had first started off, there was this worry about whether the transferability of votes from the BSP to the SP and vice versa will be as effective as people had expected. Over the last few weeks or so, both Mayawati and Akhilesh Yadav have gone out of their way publicly by doing certain things, by asking, Mayawati's nephew touched Mulayam's feet on a stage. Dimple Yadav touched Mayawati's feet on a stage, and these are gestures that make a difference in that part of the world, and that has helped. So the cohesion between the two parties, workers and cadres, has improved as the phases have got along.
Yeah. Do you think that a resurgent Congress could perhaps cut into the upper caste votes and even help the Gathbandhan to a great extent?
Well, look, Congress's strategy in UP has been extremely curious for me, and I think it is curious because if the stated objective of the Congress is to stop the BJP at any cost, their decision to not go in for an alliance with the Mahagathbandhan was peculiar. Even if they did, they first said that they are going to put up candidates in a way that will impact the BJP more. That was a bit of a political naivety in many ways, because that's not how people vote. Two, they ended up, there are at least 8 constituencies in Uttar Pradesh where the Congress has put up very strong candidates. You have Imran Pratapgarhi, for instance, in Western UP. You had Salman Khurshid contesting. You have Raj Babbar contesting, and you have Anu Tandon contesting. And these are very strong candidates, and there is no way but for them to be eating into Mahagathbandhan votes. So they have actually damaged the chances of Mahagathbandhan at least 7 to 8 seats. Yes, there could be a couple of seats in Eastern UP where, because they put up an upper caste candidate, they may eat into BJP. But frankly, their strategy in UP has been curious. If the idea is to stop the BJP, they won't exactly manage to do that in the positive sense. They might as well just do it in the negative sense.
Let's talk about Delhi. Clearly going to be a three-way battle. There's AAP, Congress and BJP. How fierce do you think it's going to be?
Pretty fierce, and I think because the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress have failed to do an alliance, the BJP does start off on a pole position for sure. If the two had come together, it would have been a very, very keenly fought election, perhaps giving the Aam Aadmi Party Congress a little bit of an edge as well. But now that they're separate, it's a default advantage to the BJP in many seats. I think there are only perhaps 2 seats where the BJP might be in a little bit of a bother, but the rest of the 5 for sure, they'll find it easier with no alliance happening. And the fact that the no alliance has happened in Delhi, I strongly believe the Aam Aadmi Party should share a bulk of the blame and not as much the Congress in this.
Okay, so you believe that would have been a game changer, and it would have turned out to be a more fierce battle had the two come into an alliance. But what about AAP's focus? Because they have done health, the education sector. Do you think that can in a certain way help them in a national election?
No, there is no question. I mean, in Delhi, for instance, anybody who lives there will tell you that the quality of the education in the government schools has improved. There are people who do tend to like and appreciate the Mohalla clinics that they've started off, which have free medicines and free treatment for at least the basics. So there is some amount of appreciation for that as well. But Delhi is a very strange state. In fact, Delhi is one of those states that is perhaps the most misunderstood. Most people, especially our audience, would perhaps know Delhi for Connaught Place and South Extension and Greater Kailash and Johor Bagh. But that's not what Delhi is at all. Delhi is Madipur, it is Karawal Nagar, it is Bhavana, it is Narela. Those are areas people don't even know of, perhaps haven't even heard of. The 60% of the electorate in Delhi actually belongs to these areas, and they influence the election way more than anyone else. And that's where the Aam Aadmi Party came in and change the equation. Because remember, Delhi is one of those very few cities where residents enjoy the same quality of infrastructure without any difference geographically. In UP, if you live in Noida, you enjoy one infrastructure. If you live in Jhansi, you enjoy different infrastructure. In Delhi, you could be living in South Extension in a bungalow, and right behind it will be a slum cluster using the same bus service, same metro and same road. So there the game is different. The game is that you come, and the second part being that Delhi, nobody is from Delhi, everybody is from outside. It's a completely migrant city. So people come there with very different set of expectations. There is no attachment emotionally to the city, and their voting is on a very selfish last mile problem, which is where the Aam Aadmi Party came in, because they came in and said, we will stop all the last mile corruption that you have to face. Nobody's going to ask you for bribes. You can put up your rickshaw, you can put up your shop wherever you want to, and that helped them. That's where the Congress lost out, because Congress never really realized how deep this problem was. Can they repeat that is a question mark. Yes, they still have some influence. It's unfair to say that the Aam Aadmi Party is not relevant at all. They still remain relevant, and they still have some amount of goodwill in these areas. But it's a big question mark, especially with arithmetically, they being not in a good position with a split between Congress and them.
Okay. What about West Bengal? Do you think that we can see the BJP spring a surprise?
I think West Bengal is a case of a slight bit of overhype. You know, BJP is very good at that, and they're very good at creating narratives which gives a disproportionate sense of the battle. The areas which are going to polls today and in the last phase, much like the previous couple of phases, Trinamool has been very, very strong. I mean, only in North Bengal do you have some areas where BJP has a chance. BJP will certainly improve its vote share in Bengal. There's no doubt about that. That BJP is now the principal opposition party in West Bengal. And that in itself is a huge political shift in the narrative. I mean, imagine in this election, nobody's talked about the left. Nobody's talked about the Congress. And this is as dramatic a shift as you can imagine in any election in this country. But to imagine that BJP will do very well, I doubt if they'll be able to go to double digits. My personal sense is they'll probably stop at 8 or 9 seats. But Mamta remains the principal party. And there is no way that you'll be able to overcome the deficit that you have between the two principal rivals anytime soon. Yes, maybe in the future 5 years, but not exactly in this election.
Fair enough. Thanks very much for breaking it down for us, what to expect in these individual states. And we will be having to look forward in just, no time from now as to what the final verdict is going to be. But with that, we're completely out of time.